44.6% have voted yes, and 55.4% have voted no.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 23 biggest UK breaking news stories of each year.
Are you a war criminal?
Of course I don't believe that.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
For this list, we'll be looking at various moments that made us happy, sad, and even confused between the years 2000 and 2022. We definitely couldn't fit everything in this video, so please let us know what was your memorable breaking news moment that should definitely make this list. Let's debate in the comments. 2000 Millennium Dome. The year 2000 was greeted by the catastrophic launch of the Millennium Dome. 10,000 people were invited to witness the spectacle on the day, but as it turned out, hundreds hadn't actually received their tickets. Everything that could logistically go wrong on the night did go wrong, including body scanners failing to work. The night also turned sour due to a sudden bomb threat. The next day, and for the year that followed, the Millennium Dome and its operations cost the government hundreds of millions of pounds. In 2005, it was officially rebranded as the O2 Arena. 2001 Foot and Mouth Crisis.
For 6 weeks now, Britain has been gripped by an epidemic of foot and mouth disease.
In 2001, a highly infectious disease was spread among cattle, goats, sheep, and pigs. This had a disastrous effect on the rural economy as disease killed more than 6 million cows and sheep. Thousands of small farms were forced to close their doors as they were unable to control the spread. Bobby Woff was identified as the farmer whose pigs caused the initial outbreak. He failed to notify the authorities, which earned him a 15-year farming ban. In total, the outbreak cost the public sector £3 million, while the private sector lost £5 million.
Businesses that rely on seasonal tourist trade are facing ruin.
2002 Royal Deaths. In 2002, the UK lost 2 of its royal family members. On the 9th of February, Princess Margaret, Queen Elizabeth II's sister, suffered her 4th and final stroke. She passed away at the age of 71. During her funeral, Queen Elizabeth broke the royal protocol and showed deep sadness over her sister's passing. Just a couple of weeks later, on the 30th of March, the Royal Palace announced the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. She was 101 years and 238 days old. Millions attended her funeral and many other countries commemorated her passing. 2003 Invasion of Iraq. The UK's invasion of Iraq was one of the most defining moments when it came to the public's trust in military intelligence and its operations. Prime Minister Tony Blair falsely promised the development of nuclear weapons and top-notch technology after wrongly declaring Iraq as a threat to the national interest. And then the government released the inquiry into the UK's involvement in the war. After reading the report, many suspected that Blair's motives for joining had more to do with the upkeep of the UK's relationship with the US. Thousands of Brits have died as a result of the war, and the public branded Blair a war criminal.
Are you a war criminal?
Of course I don't believe that.
2004 Higher Education Bill.
Parliament that will have control over the future of tuition fees, and I think that ought to give us a fair bit of confidence.
Although tuition fees were already introduced in 1998, the real controversy came when Tony Blair's government decided to triple the maximum fee. This meant that students were expected to pay up to £3,000 per year instead of the previously set £1,000 per year. Bigger universities encouraged the bill to prevent the collapse of their institution and allow them to set their own fees. However, the decision was criticised by the National Union of Students, who pointed out that many students had to start taking up part-time jobs to have enough money, while others faced a lot of debt. 2005 Harry the Nazi. International media had a field day with this story, but it all started with The Sun, who first broke the news in 2005. Prince Harry and Prince William attended the colonial-themed Maud's Cotswold costumes and didn't think much of their chosen gear. William had an animal outfit, but Prince Harry decided on the ultimate distasteful move and dressed up in a Nazi uniform. To make matters worse, this happened just a couple of days before the Holocaust Memorial Day. Harry later apologised for his costume choice and regretted his actions. However, this was only the start of his wild child behaviour that would soon become a worldwide topic of discussion. 2006. The London Whale.
A bottlenose in a bottleneck. A small flotilla of crafts surround the whale, which is, well, basking really.
To give you a break from the controversial and shocking news, here's a slightly lighter subject. In 2006, Londoners were absolutely stunned when the River Thames hosted an unlikely visitor. A large whale was spotted swimming in the river for the first time since 1913. Hundreds of people watched it make its way through the Thames, with many specialists becoming increasingly worried for its health. However, unfortunately, this story doesn't have a happy ending. Sorry guys. Although rescuers tried their best to ensure its safety and nurse him back to health, the whale sadly passed away. 2007. Madeleine McCann disappears. In 2007, the world was focused on finding a small, blonde-haired girl who disappeared from her family's holiday apartment in Portugal. Madeleine McCann was 3 years old when she vanished, leaving behind her twin siblings and distraught parents. It's a case that made international news, with sightings reported all over the world. The McCanns, who left their kids in the apartment as they went to dinner with their friends, faced grueling inquiries over their daughter's disappearance. Unfortunately, as of August 2022, Madeleine McCann is yet to be found, and we still have no idea what happened to this poor little girl. 2008, Karen Matthews is arrested.
If anybody's got my daughter, my beautiful princess daughter, please bring her home safe.
A year later, another child disappearance rocked the nation. Shannon Matthews was reported kidnapped after failing to come home from her school trip. More than 200 officers were involved in the investigation, determined to find the missing child.
Not only a case of unthinkable betrayal, it was also a crime which cost millions of pounds in police resources.
After 24 days, Shannon was found alive in an apartment in Lydgate Gardens after the neighbours heard an unknown child's footsteps coming from above them. The man who kidnapped Shannon later revealed that her mother, Karen Matthews, asked him to take her in order to make money from rewards. She served an 8-year sentence and ended up changing her identity. However, Matthews still insists she's entirely innocent. 2009. Recession.
The data published by the Office for National Statistics shows the UK's economy shrank by 0.8% between April and June.
In 2009, the UK entered one of its biggest recessions since the Second World War. It was the result of the previous year's financial crash. It had dreadful effects on the economy, which shrunk by more than 6%. A lot of companies went bust, and the country hit one of its biggest unemployment peaks.
The price of wheat has doubled. Energy costs, fuel costs, wage costs have risen.
2.7 million people were desperate to find work, and the unemployment rate reached 8.5%. This hasn't happened since 1995.
That's not good.
It's scandalous. I can't even afford to go out to a pub no more.
It was so bad, it took the UK 5 years to recover and finally return its economy to a stable condition. 2010. General election. The 2010 general election was a turning point for many reasons. Not only did it end Gordon Brown's short reign, but it also marked the first time the voters delivered a hung parliament. No political party had enough seats to claim a majority, but there were a few parties that won their first seats, including the Green Party. The election also marked the rise of the Conservative Party as Labour's leadership began to drop. Although he had no prior governmental experience, David Cameron became the Prime Minister after he managed to charm the parties with his charisma, and that brought a whole new world of problems. 2011. News of the World phone hacking scandal.
It led to dawn raids, the arrests of journalists, the editors questioned in Parliament.
The British tabloid known as News of the World was involved in a number of phone hacking activities. The standard practice of the tabloid was to hire a private investigator and hack into many people's voicemails, including deceased victims of various crimes. They deleted voice recordings at their will, giving victims' relatives false hope of their loved ones' whereabouts. These included victims such as deceased schoolgirl Millie Dowler, British soldiers, and the 2005 London bombing victims. The investigation resulted in high-profile resignations, including News of the World's director, Rupert Murdoch. Eventually, the tabloid ceased operations after 168 years of publication. 2012. Olympics. The 2012 Summer Olympic Games were a big deal, and not only because they happened in London. To support the event, the city built the iconic Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park, which hosted almost 11,000 athletes from all over the world. From Usain Bolt's 100-meter gold and Mo Farah's 10K to the Spice Girls reunion, the 2012 Olympics were record-breaking in many ways. Gymnast Gabby Douglas also became the first black woman to win the monumental all-round title, which further launched her into international fame. All in all, the 2012 Olympics were the talk of the town. 2013, same-sex marriage is legalised. 2013 was an important year for the British LGBT+ community as Parliament legalised same-sex marriage in England and Wales. Although the law was announced in 2013, it didn't come into effect until the following year. And when it did, Peter McGrath and David Cabriza were the first same-sex couple that tied the knot just 1 minute after the act was officially valid. One of the biggest topics of the legislation were voting results. Only 127 Conservative MPs voted in favour of the act. The passing of the law made many question whether the Tory party's opinion on gay rights would change under David Cameron. 2014, Scottish independence referendum.
44.6% have voted yes, and 55.4% have voted no.
Should Scotland be an independent country? It's a never-ending debate, but in 2014, 55% of voters won by saying no. It was also the first time 16 and 17-year-olds were allowed to vote in Scotland and have a direct say on what their future will hold. Many advised that Scottish independence would bring a lot of benefits to the public, including better healthcare. Those who were for independence were visibly crushed, and for many, this is still a heated topic to this day. With the rise of Brexit, the discussion surrounding Scottish independence continues, and the First Minister of Scotland proposed another referendum. 2015, Jeremy Clarkson versus the BBC. Top Gear fans were absolutely speechless when the BBC decided to drop Jeremy Clarkson. As it turned out, Clarkson engaged in an unprovoked attack on a member of the Top Gear production team. Reports stated the attack was so bad, Oisin Tymon was bleeding and had to go to the hospital.
What we know is that the producer, Oisin Tymon, was indeed attacked by Jeremy Clarkson, and he was also subjected to sustained verbal abuse.
The incident allegedly occurred after Clarkson was told there was no hot food on set. As a result, Clarkson was fired from the show and ended his long-term reign as the host. Clarkson eventually apologised and revealed that the attack was indeed completely unprovoked and unwarranted. 2016, Brexit.
I will go to Parliament and propose that the British people decide our future in Europe.
Everyone was stunned when the UK announced it will be leaving the European Union after a successful referendum. Many argued that being in the EU is stinting the potential of the country's growth and setting their own rules.
Definitely out.
Definitely out.
Definitely out.
Definitely out.
However, others claim that the voters weren't clear on what they were voting for after the government made post-Brexit promises they never actually delivered. Less than 24 hours after the result of the referendum, some voters expressed their regret over backing Brexit.
We at ITV News are calling this as a Leave victory, an extraordinary moment in British history.
The UK officially left the EU in 2020, and just 2 years later, the country is facing one of its biggest cost of living crises yet. 2017, Grenfell Tower fire. At 1 AM on the 14th of June 2017, a West London 24-storey block of flats broke out in flames. Although 223 people managed to escape the building, the fire spread too quickly and took over 70 lives in the process. Building management was later criticised over ignored alerts to poor fire safety management of the building, which started years prior to the fire. Furthermore, it was revealed that the building's cladding was the main reason why the fire was able to spread so quickly. Reports state that over 10,000 buildings around the UK feature the same type of flammable cladding. 2018, Salisbury poisonings.
2 people, a man and a woman, are found unconscious on a bench in the city centre.
On March 4, 2018, a former Russian military officer and his daughter were found unconscious on a bench in Salisbury. Sergei Skripal was a double agent for the British intelligence services. The organisation for the prohibition of chemical weapons revealed they were poisoned using a Novichok nerve agent, which also saw the poisoning of 2 police officers who were investigating the scene. The UK's official assessment of the incident concluded that this was Russia's attempt of murder, which resulted in the expulsion of Russian diplomats and their families from the UK. Since then, Sergei and Yulia Skripal moved to New Zealand and were given a new identity to start a fresh life. 2019, Change UK. In 2019, 8 members of the Labour Party and 3 Conservatives decided to create a brand new political party that would, as the name suggests, change the UK politics for the better. The public was intrigued, but as it turned out, forming a new party wasn't as easy as it seemed. Members state that ego clashes and going back to their old ways of anonymously briefing the media is what tore the group apart. 6 members left, while the other 5 were adamant to keep going. Eventually, they all lost their seats, and the group dissolved, now serving as yet another failed attempt at changing the UK. 2020, Megxit.
And a statement from Prince Harry and Meghan saying they're stepping back from royal duties.
After years of rumours that there was something going on between Prince Harry, Meghan Markle and the royal family, Harry and Meghan announced their royal departure in 2020. The moment was unofficially branded as Megxit, and people, as well as the media, had a lot to say on the subject. Harry and Meghan decided to move to the US, where they expanded their family and began to live a calmer life, away from the royal drama. However, the move saw many Brits criticise Markle for stealing their royal, despite the fact that Prince Harry stated the media's lack of support and understanding is what fueled their decision.
That means they'll no longer be given the title of Their Royal Highness and won't be funded by the public.
2021, Sarah Everard's death. On the 3rd of March 2021, the news of the disappearance of Sarah Everard spread in the UK. She was walking home from a friend's house when she was falsely arrested by a Metropolitan Police officer, Wayne Couzens. Couzens stated that Everard breached COVID-19 stay-at-home regulations and put her in the back of his car.
So we're here to talk to you about Sarah. Let me show you a picture. Do you know Sarah?
I don't know.
But instead of taking her to the police station, he assaulted her and eventually ended her life. The murder launched several nationwide protests. The Metropolitan Police were heavily criticised over their offensive behaviour during the investigation, which saw many officers facing disciplinary action. 2022, Her Majesty the Queen dies.
Buckingham Palace has announced the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
It was a year of turbulence for the UK. With numerous crises and the high-profile resignation of Boris Johnson, it wasn't clear where 2022 could go from there. However, in the evening of September 8th, Buckingham Palace made the sombre announcement that Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II had passed away peacefully at Balmoral that afternoon. It followed hours of speculation after the palace said doctors were concerned for the Queen's well-being, and then all the royals were summoned to Balmoral. The death of a sovereign was something we last experienced in 1952 with the passing of King George VI, an event few people remember. It sent shockwaves throughout the UK, the Commonwealth, and the rest of the world.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojoUK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.